Cell phone video could help pinpoint where and how the Marshall Fire started. Boulder County relies on a system where people have to sign up for emergency alerts, which explains why some found out about the fire after their homes were gone.
I don't know how it can ever be the same with just the devastation.
He was not at home when the fire hit because he was out leading the evacuation. And Next Viewers raised $1 million in 24 hours to help Coloradans recover from the fire. Should we keep that going this week? You will decide, honestly. But I know this, when bad things happen, you don't just watch, you help. Because this is next. The 2 Coloradans presumed dead in the Marshall Fire are being searched for by hand in the burned debris of their homes. There's also a cadaver dog searching for people who might not have been reported missing. The dog's cleared the north side of Louisville and is now searching the south side of town. With 2 lives likely lost and nearly 1,000 homes destroyed in that fire, there's intense interest in how it started. Marshall Zellinger joins us now from that area where the fire is believed to have started near Highway 93 and Highway 170. Marshall, you've taken a look at some videos that we're seeing for the first time that show that fire at a very early stage.
But it still doesn't show us how the fire started. That's one reason the National Guard still has this roadblock just off Highway 93. That's Highway 170, and if you take the road, it curves to Marshall Road and to a property where multiple people have shared cell phone video with us that shows the start of what would become the most destructive fire in the state's history.
This video is the closest we've seen to the area where the Marshall Fire is believed to have started. Mike Zoltowski recorded this video Thursday at 11:54 a.m. from the property just off Highway 93 and Highway 170, where investigators have been looking into the fire's origin.
When I went out there, walked out there, I saw the shed was almost burnt to the ground. I saw 3 individuals that were huddled between 2 vehicles. When I went over there to find out what was going on, they just said one of our dwellings caught on fire.
These are the 3 men he saw out there. You cannot see a home on fire in Mike's videos, but there is a burned home just to the left of where they're walking.
Older gentleman had a dislocated shoulder, so I just asked how I can help, and they just said if you can block the wind so we can get him to shelter. So that's what I did, kind of walked behind them. Once I got them to shelter, I walked up to the field, and the entire field was just fire.
He recorded his videos because he was at his buddy's next door.
This is my friend's home. So ultimately, I was sending him updates.
It's really bad. Watch out! Oh my God, if you can see flames.
Ann Michaels recorded the earliest videos we've seen of the Marshall Fire. She shot these with her cell phone starting at 11:19 a.m.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
So I called 911 at 11:20. I asked if they were evacuating people in the neighborhood. She said yes.
I can't get back home right now because this is happening.
Before Ann shot this second video, she stopped to check on the home nearest the fire.
And I just felt nervous that the person living closest to the flames wasn't going to get the call or something, so I rang the doorbell several times. It didn't seem like anyone was home.
Mike considered evacuating, but stayed and shot more video after seeing which way the wind took the smoke and flames.
I mean, I shared all the videos with the detectives. Again, I hope we can learn from this. I mean, I think that's all we can do.
Mike might be able to use his videos for what he does for his job. He works with a Canadian company that makes and builds industrial hemp homes out of hemp and lime. If you're like me and say, what is that? He explains it essentially is a fire retardant home. If a fire spreads, it won't ignite. And Kyle, definitely there'll be a lot of conversations with homeowners as they talk with their insurance companies about what the new homes are going to be made from.
As extreme as that sounds, certainly fire-resistant materials are a fact of life in a lot of building scenarios. Thank you, Marshall. Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pelley says he's optimistic that the Spanish Hills neighborhood, along with downtown Superior, are going to be reopened to residents and business owners at some point tonight. I'm going to give you the latest closure map. Red areas are hard closure. Nobody gets in. The red lines are roads that are shut down right now. The yellow areas are what they're calling soft closures, meaning that people who live in those areas, who own property there, will be allowed in with ID. Louisville's police chief says his city's going to start a pass program for residents to try and speed up the process of getting people in and out of soft closures. You can get a pass tomorrow at Ascent Community Church on McCaslin. And those green areas were areas once closed that are now fully open. There are Coloradans whose homes burned before they ever received an emergency alert warning them about the incoming fire. Our Steve Steger looks at Boulder County's opt-in emergency notification system.
We're just getting by and taking it one step at a time.
Tanya Somaru's family of 4 is living at a hotel in Boulder.
You know, I think we're doing a lot better than a lot of our neighbors. You know, I have my 2 children and my husband, and we got our computers, our papers, our medicines. Guys, we're not out of the woods.
She considers herself lucky because she was extra cautious, started packing when she saw the smoke plume. Others didn't.
There was no notice, and that was hard because when I was trying to get my neighbors to pay attention to it, it sounded maybe to some like I was being a little hysterical.
Tanya says she never got a reverse 911 alert. She says none of the neighbors she's talked to did either.
I live in the United States. I don't expect that I'm not going to get that message. It really surprised me.
We launched a system called Everbridge, and it works in several ways. It notifies landlines, it notifies voice over internet phones that are registered with the system, and it notifies cell phones that are registered with the system.
Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pelly told us today all landlines should have gotten that message, but anyone without one has to register their cell phone with the company called Everbridge.
I don't know about that. I don't know what it is. If I did, I certainly would have signed up for it.
Several people we talked to today who evacuated hadn't heard of it either.
What I really wish is that everybody just had a little more time, because most of my neighbors left with nothing but the clothes on their back, or they weren't home and their dogs perished in their house and they're grief-stricken about it.
Early warning wouldn't have saved her home. She knows that. She just hopes this experience might be a lesson to both neighbors and safety leaders as Boulder County rebuilds.
We're just getting by and taking it one step at a time.
A sheriff's office spokeswoman told me today that in each case of someone reporting not getting an alert to the sheriff's department, they've investigated and found that those people were not signed up for this program. So I asked Sheriff Pelly today, why not send out one of those EAS messages? You know, the things that you get on your phone when there's an Amber Alert, or I don't know if you recall that boil order in the city of Inglewood a while back. The sheriff says that this program has worked for the county in the past, so it's what they use, Kyle. Just another reminder to folks, you need to sign up for this system if you're going to get an alert in an emergency.
Not Sheriff Pelly's first rodeo with one of these emergencies.
Yeah, you know, Sheriff Pelly told us yesterday all of the fires that he has responded to in his 20 years here. Multiple fires, the floods of 2013, plus the Boulder shooting. Sheriff Pelly's been through a lot, built the Emergency Operations Center here at the Sheriff's Office up quite a bit over the years to try to respond, because in his first 2 months on the job, he faced a massive snowstorm and found an Emergency Operations Center that was tiny. So he's done this before, and he says that this system works, and hopefully this will get the message out to a lot of people that they need to sign up for it.
Lots of unwanted experience. Steve, thank you. Coloradans who lost it all in the wildfires have been reaching out to me in some number over the weekend to thank you for what you did last week. Next Viewers raised $1 million in a day for the Boulder County Wildfire Fund, which is going to support long-term and short-term needs of Coloradans impacted by the fire. That Word of Thanks campaign is now up to $1.4 million. It is far and away your largest micro-giving effort yet. We know that it's not going to be able to cover all of the long-term needs in the community. So, and this is truly up to you, but I'm thinking we should keep going this week. If you scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491, I will send you the link to join me in giving to the Boulder County Wildfire Fund. This is the main relief fund that's been put together by the nonprofit Community Foundation Boulder County. They have been in the community for decades. They are going to be there for the long term. They are not just in the business of immediate short-term relief. Pooling all the funds in one place allows them to meet the needs of a wide variety of smaller groups and individuals, and that way we don't overwhelm any one smaller organization with more than they need or can get out to people quickly. Thank you for your overwhelming generosity. Boulder Valley School District is calling students and staff back to school within days of their homes burning. Some students are questioning that decision.
Having seen how devastating it is throughout the whole town, it's just awful.
While he was leading his community's evacuation effort, his own home was burning. He takes us there to see what's left next. One struggle after a disaster like the Marshall Fire is when to return to the familiar comfort of routine and when to take time away to process. The Boulder Valley School District has made its decision. It's going to restart school on Wednesday, trying to bring some order and normalcy back to the lives of students and staff. It is clear that some students, at least, would prefer to have more time to decompress about what happened. Superintendent Dr. Rob Anderson says the point of restarting school is not to get classwork done. He told us they want to be able to be there for the kids and to start the community healing process. During a tour of Monarch High School in Louisville, he pointed out that while the damage to the neighborhood surrounding the high school is pretty serious, that school and others in the district are still standing, and they're being cleaned out right now. Central office employees will help cover the staffing issues for employees who are not able to come to work. About 600 students and 60 staff are estimated to have lost their homes or had their houses damaged. Monarch's student newspaper, The Mix, put out an online editorial yesterday. One of the staff members, Riley Selby, wrote, quote, "Countless of my classmates, my neighbors, my friends lost everything they own in these horrific fires. Regaining a sense of normalcy by returning to school may seem like a good idea in some aspects," Riley wrote, "but considering recent events, normal is impossible." When the Marshall Fire spun up and out of control, there were many Coloradans who stopped at their jobs in the middle of the day to follow what was happening. And for some, their job kicked into high gear. Our Anastasia Bolton and photojournalist Ann Herbst met one man who went into action.
It is just completely unrecognizable.
So much to sort through and sort out. No wonder Curtis Johnson,
Just gone. Completely gone.
is a little confused.
Yeah, I think it's Monday.
Who'd blame him?
All you can see left in my garage is the refrigerator. There were a few beers in it. Yeah, and this was our house until we decided to retire or do something different.
This is where Johnson and his wife and so many others made a life.
These guys just moved in earlier this year. A young couple, little kids. She's pregnant.
Living here, Johnson was close to work, which was helpful on Thursday.
Our first priority is trying to get a handle on where the fire is and where it's going and trying to get people out of the way.
Johnson is a division chief at the Boulder County Sheriff's Office.
The first fire kicked off right around 11 o'clock.
He was off the day the Marshall Fire erupted.
I had taken the day off to hang out with my wife. It was her birthday. The fire interrupted that.
There was no time to think about what would happen to his house.
Nothing was going to keep that fire from spreading. And all we could do was hope that we were getting people out of the way fast enough.
He asked his wife to evacuate just in case.
People who live in our mountain communities are always prepared for this. They have a list. They have a plan.
Division Chief Johnson knows this because he's helped other communities with their disasters.
But I had no realistic grasp of what they were going through.
He just didn't think he'd experience it living in this neighborhood.
People will tell you, you don't know what it's like to lose everything until you do. And I get that now. I don't have anything.
At a time when everything looks and feels upside down, Chief Johnson focuses on the basics.
Buy a bed, get a pair of shoes and some underwear.
Once all that is sorted out,
I'll be back to work by the end of the week.
He'll be ready.
We'll get things going.
To focus on others again.
I know I need to get back to work because there's recovery to be done.
So many first responders came home to their houses looking like this. Division Chief Johnson says it is difficult to comprehend what he is seeing, and it is day 4 of dealing with this disaster. He says it's also too early to think about coming back here. He said he's going to have to talk to his neighbors and figure out what the future holds. In Louisville, I'm Anastasia Bolton.
There are many wonderful organizations that are raising money to help wildfire victims like Division Chief Johnson, but please be careful as you give. So over the weekend, a few of you pointed out to me that the popular Instagram page I-70 Things had raised more than $250,000 in donations, which is great. But the page was directing them to a charity in Boulder, Utah. Long story short, the guy who runs the I-70 Things Instagram page was apologetic about his error, and the folks who run that small nonprofit in Boulder County, Utah, have promised that they will forward all $266,000 in donations to the Boulder County Wildfire Fund in Boulder County, Colorado. That tiny nonprofit in Utah has one part-time employee, and when I talk to them, they're worried about how they're going to deal with figuring this out and any tax or IRS reporting issues. I assured them, I know the greatest group of people in Colorado, and if we need to find somebody who's got some nonprofit expertise to make sure that $250,000 makes it from Utah to Colorado, well, we'll just ask here, and I'm certain that somebody will step up to help.
The leading Republican candidate for governor is stepping off the campaign trail due to COVID. And we know Denver has been dry for months. I had no idea just how dry. That's next.
We just got the official word. The evacuation notices have been lifted for downtown Superior and Spanish Hills, so that means that those areas are open once again to residents and business owners. So much devastation in downtown Superior. Spanish Hills is a bit more hit and miss from the north to the south sides of those communities as people return home. COVID-19's once again put a stop to jury trials in parts of Colorado so people aren't popping droplets with a jury of their peers. No jury trials through at least the end of the month in Arapahoe, Douglas, Elbert, Lincoln, Gilpin, Jefferson, and Boulder counties. Our COVID hospitalizations are trending up after we saw an encouraging drop late November, early December. We are up 51 patients from the day before and up 149 patients from last Monday. This is what Omicron's doing. 1 in 4 COVID tests is coming back positive in our state, 24% positivity over the last 7 days. That is the highest Colorado has seen at any point in the pandemic. One of those positive tests is the Republican frontrunner for governor, Heidi Ganahl, who is coming off the campaign trail for a little bit. Her campaign says she's vaccinated and just has a sore throat and some aches.
Breaking out of the deep freeze today and again tomorrow ahead of a midweek storm and chance for more snow. Temperatures in the low 50s this afternoon, but still a fair amount of snow cover. And with gusty winds increasing out of the northwest, we've got a high wind warning that will go out for areas west and north of Denver. High and mid-level clouds are coming in. We'll see the snow start to fly in the northern mountains probably after lunchtime. The big story along the foothills will be gusty west winds, 30 to 45 miles per hour. Those winds extending up into Wyoming. This warning does not cover the Denver metro area. Snow will ramp up in the northern and central mountains, leading us to about a 4 to 8 inch accumulation, and that is some welcome snow. Denver will see the snow on Wednesday, about 1 to 3 inches expected between Wednesday afternoon and early Thursday morning. And so we've got the coldest day coming up on Thursday, but a little bit of snow for Wednesday, and then temperatures back in the 50s on the weekend.
Denver's been so dry it feels like if you said Death Valley, you are correct on a couple of levels. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi pointed out for the first time in recorded history, Death Valley saw more measurable rain and snow than Denver did over the last 6 months of last year. 1.2 inches here, 1.9 inches in Death Valley. First time that's happened in 110 years of record keeping. Your feedback and your resounding answer to whether we should keep the Wildfire Fund microgiving going next. Jeff Ryan in Westy says, nice to see former 9 News reporters back in town helping out with this fire story. Grateful to have Anastasia Bolton today. It's clear that you want to keep that wildfire fund growing. You've just kicked in $100,000 in the last 5 minutes to bring it to $1.5 million.